Claudette Colvin has died. Here's a video I did a couple years ago about this extraordinary woman. You know Rosa Parks, but do you know Claudette Colvin?
On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat for a white passenger on a public bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Her act of defiance and arrest helped inspire the black community in Montgomery to boycott the city buses for more than a year. She was lifted up as a symbol of black freedom in America, and her story was instrumental in dismantling the Jim Crow architecture of the South. She's been dubbed the First Lady of Civil Rights.
Rosa Parks is a hero. Of that, there is zero doubt. But do you know that she was not the first person to stand up in this way? Nor were her actions the impetus that ended bus segregation in Montgomery. That honor belongs in part to a 15-year-old girl named Claudette Colvin.
On March 2nd, 1955, 9 months before Rosa Parks made her stand by remaining in her seat, Montgomery teenager Colvin was arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded, segregated bus while commuting home from school. An active participant in the Youth Council for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP, where she was mentored by the branch secretary, none other than Rosa Parks herself, Colvin was still stinging from the arrest of her classmate, Jeremiah Reeves, who had recently been falsely accused of raping a white woman and would later be executed.
I felt the hand of Harriet Tubman pushing down on one shoulder and Sojourner Truth pushing down on the other, she later said.
Colvin was handcuffed, arrested, and forcibly removed from the bus by 2 white policemen and endured sexual taunts from the men on the way to the station. She was charged with disturbing the peace, violating segregation laws, and assaulting a police officer.
That last charge was completely made up.
She was convicted on all 3 charges in juvenile court, but the charges of disturbing the peace and violating segregation laws were later dropped on appeal. The manufactured charge that she assaulted the police officer who arrested her was upheld. Later, she was one of 5 plaintiffs in Browder v. Gale, a court case challenging city bus segregation in Montgomery as unconstitutional. The United States District Court for the Middle District of Alabama agreed, but state and local officials appealed the case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where, thankfully, the High Court affirmed the District Court's decision. On December 20th, 1956, the state of Alabama was ordered to permanently end bus segregation.
So why don't you know the name Claudette Colvin? It turns out the NAACP didn't think she was the best person to be the face of the protest. Rosa Parks was an adult, had a job, and a middle-class appearance. Colvin, on the other hand, was impoverished, had darker skin, was an inexperienced teenager, and perhaps most importantly to the moral police of the time, was also unmarried and pregnant. It was thought, probably correctly, that if Colvin had been front and center, it would have been far easier for the white press to dismiss her.
As with Parks, who was branded a troublemaker and had to leave Alabama following a wave of death threats, Colvin later moved to New York City, where she worked for 35 years as a nurse's aide in a Manhattan nursing home. She retired in 2004. In 2021, her criminal record was expunged. It has only been in recent years that her part in ending segregation in Alabama has come out.
Stay curious, my friends.